Right, hello everybody. I think I'm live now. I'm not quite sure what was up. I'm sure I did the same as I usually do, but tonight, so this was sorted now. There has to be some teething problems, I suppose, but at least now I'm on. Hopefully, it'll stay on. So, obviously, a little bit stressful start, but there we go. So. Turn that down. So, hi everybody. Oh, marvellous. That's good to know that it's all sorted. Perfect. So, like I started last week a page in Leon's journey. So, I thought this week I will carry on with it. I do apologise if the sound is a little bit different this week. It is incredibly hot here in the UK. So, I've got to have my office door open and a small fan going because else I would melt. I know other countries are probably laughing at us in the UK complaining about the heat, but we don't have aircon in our houses and they just keep the heat in, so it feels like it's twice as hot inside as it is outside, and it's already pretty warm out. So last week I did all the basing with some Arteza watercolours, so I thought this week I'll come in, actually colour Leon and do some shading on the different sweet treats. I thought I might start with the shading first. I'll use Prismacolors, mainly because I've got a Prismacolor combination for Leon. So I thought if I'm doing him in Prismacolors, I may as well use Prismacolors for the rest of it as well. I mean, hopefully it won't need to do too much shading on some of the bits. Might need to do a little bit more kind of on like the ice creams because they're a little bit patchy. But I think certainly these ice creams won't need too much. Oh, hi Jess. Oof, well, it's not easy, is it? It wasn't fun at work today, I must say. Especially normally on a Monday I can come home for my time out of class on a Monday afternoon, but I had a meeting with the PTA after school, so I needed to stay at school. I sat there going, oh, it's too warm. I hope everybody else is doing good. Did everybody have a good weekend? Did anybody get up to anything? Right, so I might just start with shading these ones first because they don't really need an awful lot of shading, to be honest. So I might try just a little bit of the cream and see how that does. I've got the cream Prismacolor. I'll just add a little bit. I don't think it needs very much because I'm quite happy with the colour that it already is, and it's not come out too patchy on these ones. And once I think I used the Supra colour, I think, on these ones rather than the Arteza ones, which is probably why these ones have come out a little bit smoother, I guess, because they are at higher quality. Oh, it's not just us then that's melting in the heat. Yeah, it's at least colouring as a hobby, at least it means you can sit and you're not having to move much, but yeah, it's not nice when you've got to be at work in the heat, is it, or get jobs done. So yeah, I don't need too much shading on these ones. I'll do a little bit of that colour on this one as well. A little bit, but I don't need very much shading. Quite happy with how that's looking at the end. Hi everyone. So carrying on with this one. What's everybody else colouring at the minute? Already got a few pages on the go. If you just finish something, I might try and work on the waffles next because they need a little bit, but again I don't think they need too much shading, so I might try where's it gone? I'll try the yellow ochre, I think, if I can find it. Yeah, that's it. I'm sure I've put them back in order, but I still can't see where it is. Ah, there it is. So I'll go for the yellow ochre. I'll try a very light bit of that, I think, on the shading. Hi. Oh, that sounds interesting. In a background in dark fairy tales. Wow, 2.5 hours. Sounds very interesting. I'm interested to see what you what mediums you were using, what you actually used for colouring it. I've seen so many gorgeous pages from dark fairy tales that people are working on. So I might use this colour, this yellow ochre on kind of these bits, and then I might shade in the square parts a little bit with it as well. Okay, I'll just add a little bit of shading. That's looking quite nice. Kind of quite happy with the page looking, looking as if I've used watercolour pencils on it, but I do want to smooth things out a little bit because just look a little bit too patchy, I think, at the minute. But it's definitely a good way of getting a lot of colour down last week. First Peter Pan page, colour 2s. Wow, that's interested to see what that looks like. Yeah, pages I've seen done from dark fairy tales look amazing, and yeah, people have been using all sorts of materials on it because the paper's quite good, I think, in it, isn't it? I'm hoping to start. I've got Fragile World, so I'm hoping to start my first page in that soon. So I've got a buddy colour in that with a certain somebody this month. So I might try and start that soon before I get too nervous about actually tackling it. I'm sure once I get going it'll be fine, but I don't know, it's just something about the artwork. It's gorgeous. I'm just not quite sure how to approach it. I think I just need to get over it and just have a go, and then it'll be fine, I think, once I'm actually into it. I do love how he's managed to make all the fairy tales like all dark, and I suppose, to be fair, all the original fairy tales actually are quite gruesome, aren't they? The ones that they're originally based on. So we had quiet day on Sunday, got a bit of recording done, some jobs done around the house, and Saturday we had quite an exciting start to the day because if you were on my stream a few weeks ago, you'll know that we sadly lost our eldest bunny, and he didn't live with our other bunny because she was a lot younger and she'd not been neutered yet, and he was very grumpy, so we were worried about him attacking her because he has got previous of attacking other bunnies. So he was living separately, so obviously he's passed away, and we've got this massive 3-level huge hutch and a run and everything. I'm like, well, what do we do with it? So we did the lot. I mean, my mum and dad, I think that we're absolutely crackers, I think. But we got ourselves 3 little guinea pigs. So because we didn't want to get another bunny in case they didn't get on with our current one. And we have had guinea pigs before, but that was like quite a few years ago now. So yeah, we've got 3 little guinea pigs from a lady who she kind of unofficially kind of rescues guinea pigs that are like no longer wanted or haven't been looked after. and she has them all like free range in her garden. And obviously occasionally she ends up with, you know, ones that are pregnant or whatever. So she's ended up with 3 little baby boys that obviously she can't keep with all of her girl piggies. So, you know, she'd put an advert out for a good home for them, and we got in touch with her. So now we've got 3 little guinea pigs out in our garden. And when I say little, they're like tiny. I think they're about 8 weeks old, so they're kind of like, well, they're bigger than hamsters, but they're definitely obviously not fully grown yet. Absolutely adorable. They're very, very cute. I have got a picture of them if I can manage to flick over to see if I can flick it up to show you. Here I'm hoping. Can you see the guinea pig? It's not showing on mine whether you can see the guinea pig picture or not. I don't know whether it's showing. No, I don't think it is. I was hoping it was. I thought we'd set it up so that you could see the guinea pigs. But anyway, we've got 3 boys. We started on Alan, Albert and Clive in the name in the end. Ah, there we are. There we go. I've clicked the right button. So there we are. We've got Albert, Clive and Alan. All 8 weeks old. They all get, you know, they've all kind of been brought up together. So I'm hoping they, you know, they stay friendly. They've certainly got plenty of room. So hopefully they'll get along with each other. So daughter's quite interested because last time we had guinea pigs, I think she was only about 2 or 3 years old, so she can't remember them at all. She can only remember having like the cats and the rabbit. So she's been quite intrigued with them, with the squeaking and everything. And yeah, they look quite big on that photo, but yeah, they are kind of like small big hamsters at the minute. So yeah, only got them Saturday morning, so they're obviously not, you know, they're settling in all right. But if they hear us coming, they're like, uh-oh, and they're kind of hiding at the minute from us. Although not as much tonight. I have to say, when I went out to clean them and do the water bottles and things, they kind of hid a little bit, but not as much as they have been. So I'm taking that as a good sign that they're getting used to us. I mean, I'm the one who, you know, I put them out and put them back, and give them the tea in an evening. Daughter's been helping feeding them in the morning. So hopefully they're, you know, going to be happy with us. I said that I think my mum and dad think I'm absolutely crackers because when I rang them on, it's been Sunday night, they were like, why didn't you just get rid of the hutch? And I was like, well, we could have done, but we can't, we haven't got access to our garden like by the side of the house. You have to go through the house, and the hutch is far too big to get through the house, because when we had it delivered a few years ago, that was before we had certain furniture in the house, so there's not a chance of it fitting back out. We'd have to smash it up, and it's too good to smash up, hence why we did what seemed quite logical of, oh, I know, we'll get some more pets. But, you know, I can blame my mum and dad. I always wanted lots of pets when I was little, and they didn't let me. So, you know, I'm making up for lost time. I might be 40, but yes, we've got ourselves some pet guinea pigs now. Oh, that's always a bit tough, isn't it, Jess, when you're trying to push on to get something finished when you're not sure about it. But keep going. You can get it done. Even if you don't like it, at least it will be finished, I guess. Right, so that's those ice creams and those ones. I might try and do these chocolatey ice creams next, if I can find a nice chocolatey brown kind of colour. Look at my swatch. Oh, do you know what, actually, that chestnut I think might be a nice colour. Let's see if I can find where that is. Here. I always forget about this one actually, because it's not actually in the brown section, how I've got mine set up. Oh, you're making me feel much better. Having 7 guinea pigs. They must be adorable. Must admit, I don't like, I've got the odd bit where I've got a couple of pages on the go, but generally I try and always finish a page before I start something else. Like I've got this one on the go, obviously for stream. I've got, I suppose technically it's a whip, although it kind of isn't. I started, I can't even find the page I'm working on now. I started this page as a series of shorts, so I will carry on at some point and do them as shorts, but I've got that kind of on the go. And then I did start another page while I was waiting to start streaming, because I thought I don't want to do anything on this. Oh, so Leon, I do actually have a colour combination for Leon, because at the start of the book I've coloured him. Haven't done any of the other characters yet. That's on my list of jobs to do as well at some point. But I've got, oh, you can tell the fan's going, it's blowing my wax paper everywhere. So I've coloured Leon, and I have written down all the colours I've used. I don't often write down my colour combinations, but if it's a character that's kind of repeated through a book, then I do try and make a note of what I'm using, because I won't remember. But I do like to have the characters looking as much the same as I can through the book. So Leon here hopefully will be pretty similar to the start. I have got the colours written down. So I've got those French greys, so I used like the darkest one on like his stripes, and then obviously worked out for the lighter parts. And then I used these two for kind of the ears and the nose and the paw pads and the tongue. So I have got it on my Ko-fi store. It has got a little picture of Leon added in there, but I have got this to download on my Ko-fi like for free, because I mean it's not the best kind of colour combination. It's not, you know, got loads of different colours in, but I thought it might be useful for people who aren't sure how to kind of tackle him. So now I went looking on Instagram for kind of inspiration to start with, because I wasn't sure whether to do him ginger like I normally do with my cats, or black and white, or didn't really know. And then I found one where he's kind wasn't quite the same colours I went for, but he was kind of greyish, and I thought that looked quite pretty and a different colour than what I normally do for my cats. Quite often I do go black and white, because we used to have a black and white cat, or I go for ginger because we've got 2 ginger cats. Hoping this will even out a bit. This is still quite patchy, although I suppose it'll just look a bit like the ice cream's melting, I guess, if it's still a bit patchy. So try and colour. I think I'm going to make these kind of, oh, somebody suggested what colour to do those last time, didn't they? And I didn't write it down. Oh no, it was the sprinkles, that was it. They suggested doing chocolate sprinkles. I think I might make the little bits on this like little nuts, I think, because they look kind of like, they could be nuts maybe. So the prisma went quite nicely over the top of it, but it's struggling a bit on top of this, but whether it's just because I've got to go in between all the fiddly bits maybe, but we're getting there. It's a little bit more even now. Yeah, I think if I'd not gone for it, he definitely would have been ginger, I think, if it'd not been. Ginger cats are so cute, aren't they? And they're kind of always up to mischief as well. What book was that? Do you mean the that one where I'm working on that? So that is out of this one. It's the only bit I've coloured out of this so far. I haven't done an actual page out of it either. I could do it. There's some really cute pages in it, but I do really like that one with the otter. But I want to finish that first little page with like all the little characters on. I mean, I'm not writing down what colours I'm doing for them, because I'm, you know, in a lot of books I don't all, in these sorts of books I want the characters to look the same, but kind of in my Cute and Cozy, sometimes I've been writing the colours down, but quite often I just kind of wing it, and you know, they might look a bit different on each page. It's just a bit of fun, and I'm not too bothered with those if it matches, whereas I feel like this kind of book. Obviously it's telling a story, isn't it? So I do want them to kind of match. And I know I won't necessarily colour in it all that often, so I definitely wouldn't remember what I was using. I might remember that I'd used prismacolors, but I would never remember what colours I'd used if I didn't write it down. Okay, I think that might, there we go, I think that'll do for that one. I think I need to sharpen my pencil a bit and try and tackle this one. Resist just brushing the I don't accidentally smudge it everywhere. There we go. So still using that chestnut. Just add a bit of shading. Not worrying about light sources or anything because I'm not bothered about it looking super realistic. Yeah, I feel like, although it's only been a week since I streamed, I feel like so much has happened in this last week. So I had a very busy week last week at work. So I had my class trip last Tuesday. That went really well. They had a great time. We all survived. It wasn't too hot, didn't rain. Quite smooth sailing. I'd definitely go back to the same place again because the staff there were really good. But that's obviously a long day and you're kind of constantly on because, you know, even at lunchtime you got to help the children with the packed lunches and helping them find the toilets and everything. And then Wednesday, sports day, which was literally most of the day. So of course my poor class, they were exhausted because they'd been out all day Tuesday on the trip and they'd probably not slept much necessarily the night before because they'd been excited. And then Wednesday we had sports day and it was hot, so by Thursday, poor things, they were shattered. We've still got so much to fit in though before we break up. And then Friday was the summer fair, so there was also bits to get sorted during the week because I'm kind of one of the teachers that works with the PTA, so there's bits and pieces to do that during the week, along with, you know, what we normally get on with. Well done me, I've just managed to get a massive stripe of pencil down the page. I am clumsy. Let's try and let's get my electric eraser out. I'm sure that'll sort it. I apologise for the noise, but I won't be able to carry on colouring the page if I don't get that. I don't get this at least lightened a little bit. In year one, so they're kind of 5-6 years old. Of course, most of them have had the birthday now, but there's a few who still haven't quite had the birthday yet. I think some even have their birthday in the summer holidays, I think, this year. Can't remember exact, but yeah, so poor things, they were shattered, especially them. There we go. I can sort the rest of that out when I do something for the background, but at least that's lightened a little bit. So yeah, school fair Friday, and then we didn't do too much of the weekend, obviously with the heat. It wears you out, doesn't it? So feels like it's only been a week since I've last been on with you all. It's been a very long, busy week. A lot of people think that in primary schools in the summer it's like, oh, dead easy, but oh my gosh, there's so much to fit in. Got a lot of history and geography and science and art to get done before the summer, and you know, school trips, summer fairs, sports day and everything. It's quite full on. I do really like year one actually. and they taught well, on my placement I had year 3 and year 2, and then I did year 4 for my NQT year, and then I've just been in year 1 ever since. I do really like it. They're a bit older than reception, so they, they're a bit more self-sufficient, but it's amazing, like teaching them to read and seeing the progress that they make in the year is just amazing. It's just hard work because they're constantly asking stuff like, miss this, miss that, miss this. Like, okay, right. Gets to the end of the day and I'm like, oh, I want to change my name, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I've actually got transition tomorrow, so we'll get time with our new classes that we'll have in September. Current classes, kind of excited, but also they're weirdly a little bit worried, I think, about going up to year 2. But I know they'll love the year 2 teacher. My daughter's actually off on her transition as well to secondary school tomorrow on Wednesday, so that's a bit scary. Little baby's growing up. Just hoping that she gets talking to some people when she's there, because she's the only person from her school going to this secondary school. So she has had a tour there, kind of. They've had several schools go, kind of after school, no parents, just the children going and being shown round. And they had kind of bigger schools going certain nights, and then they had a night where they had just like the schools where just like 1 or 2 children are going. So they obviously won't know many people. So she had that the other week. I'm hoping she remembers some of the people that were there, and we were like, right, make sure you say hello to them if you see them, go and say hi to them, because I'll be feeling awkward too, and she'll be alright if she gets chatting to somebody. It's just that initial, kind of putting yourself out there and talking to somebody, and I don't know, I'm sure it'll be fine, but she's my baby, I do worry. So I thought I'll shade over the green with the moss green. So don't need too much shading, but it does need a bit of smoothing out. So I'll use this one on kind of all the green that go up there on these leaves down there, I think. Oh, that's cool though, Jessie. You did a PGCE. It's hard work, isn't it? Okay, just a little drink. Yeah, do you know what? At school, they've got 2-day transition, Tuesday, Wednesday for all the children. But yeah, they've had this extra, kind of after school tour. I mean, we had a tour round before we kind of put down the schools. But yeah, this was a tour just for the children. And yeah, they did make a point of making sure that, the bigger schools that have got, 3-4 classes or whatever, where most of them are going, they went one night, and yeah, they made sure to organise a night for all the children who might not know anybody. There wasn't obviously much chance for her to talk to anybody, because they're obviously just kind of showing them around to help them get the bearings. But we were like, right, can you remember what some of them look like? She's like, yes, I think so. We're like, right, not to say not to talk to anybody else, but like if you see them and they're not talking to anybody, those might be your best bet of going and saying hi, and if there's a spare seat by them, see if you can sit with them. But I don't know, I'm sure she'll be fine. Guess it's natural to worry, isn't it? Oh wow, boarding schools, that must have been quite daunting, especially not knowing anybody. know, I don't think it'll be much longer than I've all this shading done actually. Don't know when I'll have the page finished tonight, but I might have a fair bit of it done potentially. I'm quite happy with how it's looking. It's a bit of shading to smooth it out. It's definitely doing well. I quite like kind of the textured patterned look. With this style of illustration, it's looks quite pretty. Okay, so shade there. Oh, true, I suppose. Yeah, all chucked in the deep end together, and I suppose you've got no choice, have you, but to get chatting. And let's try and do this little bit. Here we go. So has anybody been watching? Yeah, I know. I'm probably worrying about nothing. Like about this time next week, I'll be going, oh, she had a great time at a transition, and she's already made, made some friends. But yeah, I suppose it's natural to worry a bit, isn't it? Yeah, has anybody been watching anything decent? We've almost finished the second season of Last of Us now. I think we're on 2 episodes left, episode and a half. I know we're part way through one. But we started the new Squid Games because I don't go on TikTok, but my husband goes on TikTok, and he's like, we need to start watching it because I just keep seeing clips from it and it's going to get ruined. So we've watched 1, 2 of that now. Where did we start it? I think we might only watch 1, I think. I can't remember. Yes, and she's my baby. She's, she's my only one. But yeah, I'm sure she'll have a great time. Like we'd always said to her, like even if she was going to a school where she'd got, some kids from her class going to, that she's got friends going to. Both me and my husband, by the time we got to Christmas, it, ended up making new friends and weren't really necessarily speaking to the people that we were already friends with. So, if that's the same as our experience, then, she definitely doesn't need to worry, I suppose. Oh, you've obviously kind of binge watched it a bit then. I'm interested to see how it kind of all pans out, like how some of the characters kind of fit together and if some of the storylines are, how they tie up some of the storylines. I can't quite decide where it's going at the minute with some of the characters. So we'll probably watch another, at least probably just one of that tonight, depending on how long they are. I think most of them are quite long episodes, aren't they? Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't decide where it's going. And I keep thinking, oh, is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. So it's not like it's one of those shows where you could go, oh, they won't kill off the main characters, because especially if they're not going to do another one after, then kind of anybody's fair game, I guess, aren't they? So I don't know. Interested to see where it goes. I know we started season 1. I think we started it a little bit after it came out. Again, I think husband had seen loads of bits on TikTok and he was like, oh, it looks interesting, we'll give it a go. And then we got quite, we weren't sure after like a couple of episodes, and then yeah, we got kind of quite engrossed in it. It's such a different show, isn't it, compared to what a lot of other stuff's on. And I think the worrying thing is I can imagine, like, you can kind of imagine that it could be happening somewhere. Like, hopefully it isn't, but there we go. So we're going with the Process Red, I think, for the darkest pinks. I think that goes. Well, yeah, I figured. I've kind of more been trying to guess who might still be alive at the end rather than who gets, like, normally be trying to work out who might get killed off, but I think I'm just trying to work out who actually might still be alive at the end, and I'm not too sure. Yeah. Oh yeah, Game of Thrones. Yeah, nobody was safe in that, were they? I know when we started watching that and we were like, oh yeah, well, oh right, okay, they're not in it anymore. Oh, okay, right. And yeah, you never know then, do you? On whereas some shows you're like, ah, yeah, nothing's going to happen to them. They're the main character. Right. I'll use that as well on these little pink ones because I think I based them all in the same colour. It kind of surprised me with it how many different kind of games they've managed to make, kind of, oh, you know, into games where actually people could die, but they're actually kids games, like. This one. Oh, I feel it cooling down a bit. I've got the window open and just got a nice little breeze coming in. It's definitely cooling off a little bit now. Not massively, but I can definitely tell the sun's going down a little bit, which is nice. Right, so that's that pink done. Right, do with some lighter pinks now. Let's have a look at that. Hi Art Junkie, nice for you to join us. So I'm carrying on this page. I based it last week with watercolour pencils and I'm going over it and just doing a little bit of shading at the minute with Prismacolors just to smooth it out a little. Just trying to find pinks that I think might. A lot of these pinks are either too dark or not, or too pink, which I know is a bit of a daft thing to say, but they all look a bit too light. Oh, that blush pink I think will work on there. Let's get that blush pink out. Yeah, here we go, blush pink. So I'll use blush pink for these lighter ones. Just add a little bit of shading. Just add a bit more depth, but there we go. And not too worried about making them like super blended. Can't decide whether to come in after and cover over some of the lines with you know, markers or gel pens or something, but sometimes I do like to leave the black lines showing, and I think, I don't know, might leave the lines showing, see what I feel like once it's all done. So I think the lines aren't too harsh in these books, are they? Whereas sometimes the lines can be quite stark and end up looking a bit odd if you don't soften them a bit with gel pen or something. But they're not too deep on these, are they? So I'm blending over. I've used Arteza watercolours last week, and then I'm just adding a little bit of shading with Prismacolor. So I have shaded most bits now with Prismacolors. I think I've got the big flowers. I think that's it actually for shading. Everything else I've already done. Oh, I do need to do that lollipop actually. I think what colour I used on that little waffle. I think it was jasmine. I think I used on that. Yeah, so let's do this lollipop sticker just a little bit with jasmine before I forget, because I know that's what colour I used up there on that cone. There we go. Don't want much shading, but just a little bit of something. Oh, sorry. Maybe I think my mic's dropping off. Let me reattach it to my top. There we go. Hopefully that's working a bit better. That sounds a little bit better now. I think my microphone was nearly fell off my top. The clip was giving up, I think. Right. What was I doing? I was trying to pick pinks for these. Might go for that pink, and I'll just be really, really gentle with it, because I don't. It's quite a deep pink, but I think any other one's gonna be too light. Sorry, Jess. Because I hadn't realised that the microphone had nearly slipped off. I obviously started out a bit more attached initially, and then over the last 45 minutes it's obviously kind of sliding down a bit. Here we are. So just add a tiny bit of shading. I don't want to add too much, just to kind of deepen the colour and add a little bit of shading. But I am quite happy with the colours, which I must say is, if you were here last week you would have seen, but I used a colour combination out of this book, if I can find it. So I picked this one out. So I've tried to stick as best as I can. I mean, some of the colours are a little bit off. Like I've used cream, kind of more than like the almond colour, and the orange is probably a little bit more orange than that one. But kind of use that as like a starting point for the colours that I've used, and then try to just make sure that I use those colours kind of repeated round. I'm quite pleased with how it's turned out actually. Used that book as well for another page I've done recently. Probably I won't always use it, but certainly for pages where I'm not too sure what to do, or a page that's got a lot of different elements, I think it's going to be really useful to help me kind of not have too busy a page and to try and stick to just a few colours. There we go, that's looking pretty. So I'll shade these two now. Because you know what, it's smaller than I thought. Like, that's my hand, and I don't have the biggest hand. But actually I think it's really handy that it's not massive, because it is quite chunky. It's got 304 pages altogether, although the last couple of pages are just kind of references for like where they've had the photos from and things. But there is a lot. There's a lot in here. It's got like a whole range where you could use all the colours, or it gives you like ideas of using just 2, 3, 4, 5. If you use different proportions, you know, you obviously get a very different feel. And there is in the back, there's like an index where you could pick a colour, and then it'll give you a page number that colour's included, you know, in a palette on. Or it has got an index where here it's got sunflowers. Weirdly, I was looking to see if it got a palette for sunflowers, because I'm colouring a page and I thought, oh, I kind of picture them as sunflowers, but it hasn't got sunflowers in. But it has got a lot of other, I mean, it's got loads of different sorts of roses and all sorts of other flowers. I guess, if you know, just have to find a colour palette that got like a yellowy orange, I guess, in for sunflowers. But you know, there's some animals in there. It's even like herbs and spices, foods, drinks. There's all sorts of different things that you can search it up by. Even, you know, like Jurassic period. There's a lot of different ways, and I have also just sat and just flicked through to see if, you know, something caught my eye as well. So I think it'll be quite useful. I'm really glad I had it for my birthday, actually, because I've kind of ummed and ahed over it for a while. I think it was on Colouring Kids channel I saw it originally, like a couple of years ago. I've obviously just never got round to getting it before, you know, before now. Had it for my birthday, and yeah, I can see me getting a lot of use out of it. And like you say, like, I'm giving you an idea of, you know, how to use just 3, 4 or 5 colours, and how using the different amounts can turn, you know, can make it look so different. I think it's quite interesting. Whereas with a lot of colour palettes, it's just that colour palette, isn't it? And it doesn't give you an idea on like the proportions, what a different effect that might give. So I try and make sure I use it. I say certain pages, and you know, if I've got a vision when I look at a page and think, right, I can picture what colour I'm doing, everything, then I won't use it. But I think when I've got a bit of an idea, but I don't quite know what I'm doing, then I think it would definitely be useful. There we go. And then I'll shade this one. You know what, I might get most of this page finished possibly tonight, depending on how long it takes colouring Leon. So I think I just need to shade the lollipop then, and I think that's everything shaded that I based last week, is it? Yes, it is. So I just need to pick something orange out. So let's have a look at the orange. I don't want super bright orange. Might go for that Spanish orange, I think. And that should look quite nice, hopefully. So I'll do a bit of shading with this, and I know I used the same orange watercolour pencil in the centre of the flowers, but really lightly. So I'll probably use this same Prismacolor to do a tiny bit of shading on the flowers as yeah, on the centre of the flowers as well. Just a little bit here. Oh, you know what? We went to the cinema yesterday. Watched Clueless. It was the was it the 25th, 30th? Some anniversary anyway of however long it had been since it originally came out, which made me feel really old. I seem to remember watching it when it came out, but I literally couldn't remember anything about it. Because we got the cinema passes. Well, we'll go and see that. It's a 12A, so we can take the daughter. Oh my gosh. Some old films, like, they kind of stand the test of time, don't they? I can't say. I mean, daughter quite enjoyed it. We were just sat there going, oh wow, okay, this looks really dated. And then there were some bits that it was like, can't believe that they didn't edit that out. Like, there were certain words that it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, we don't use that anymore. Like swearing, okay, it's a 12A, some swearing's fine, but yeah, there were certain words that it was like, oh, okay. So just have a word with daughter afterwards and go, right, you definitely can't use that word, that is not okay to use. And yeah, I can't believe that they didn't edit it out, to be honest. I can't believe, like, 30 years ago that kind of, you know, you realise how much stuff changes, don't you? Like, weirdly didn't have a warning at the start. We were like, oh right, okay, if we'd have been watching that on Sky, it would have had like the warning at the start where it went, oh, you know, certain things in this show are outdated or whatever the warning is. And yeah, it didn't have that. We were like, oh, okay. And you could hear people like sniggering at some of the bits, not necessarily because it was funny, but just because it was like, oh my gosh, yeah. Can't believe that. And yeah, looking back, it's like, well, okay, that used to be acceptable. I mean, yeah, stuff has definitely changed in the last few years. And I think especially there, like, as a parent with a daughter, it was obviously even more noticeable to us than probably, I think most other people there were actually adults, I think, without children. I don't think there was many other kids there, even though it was, like I say, it was a 12A, but I don't think any other kids had been dragged along by their parents. And obviously none of them had chosen to go and watch a film that's like 30 years old. Apart from our poor child, who didn't have a lot of choice because she got dragged along with us. Right, let's colour Leon's fur. I realise actually I do not have a colour. Did I colour his eyes? No, because his eyes are so small at the start. All I've done was just black. So I don't know what I'll do for his eyes. I might have to have a bit of a ponder on that, but I'll colour his fur. Colour his fur first. Do you know what, Jess? We had, I say, it's been that long since I watched it. We'd kind of completely not realised what most of the stuff is that they're going on about. And we sat there going, oh, right, okay. I hope there's no follow-up questions afterwards from her. And she's not asked. And I think that might be because she's like kind of doesn't necessarily know what it means, but I think she knows like it's not something she wants to necessarily be asking her mum and dad. So thankfully there's not been particularly any kind of any questions afterwards. Other than when we told her, oh, you can't use these words that they used in that, that's not okay. And she was like, well, why was it in there then? And obviously there's a big chat about, well, you know, 30 years ago we didn't really know any better, so we thought it was fine using these kinds of words. So I'm going to do the pink bits first. So I'll go for the pink rose and the light peach. So no, thankfully there's not been any questions. She's obviously getting to that age where she's aware of some stuff. Obviously we've told her some bits over, you know, last couple of years, and she is having some lessons at school at the minute. She's not quite got to the lesson yet, but school's obviously building up to it because she's come home and gone, oh, we've had the boy lesson, they've had the girl lesson. So I don't know whether the next lesson they have is going to be the awkward one, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, she kind of knows some of it already anyway, so you know. Okay. So now all the pink parts of Leon done, and then I'll go in and do. So I've got the light peach here. I'll blend that back into. Where's my brush gone? There we go. And then I've got the pink rose. Is kind of the slightly more pink colour. Let's blend that out. No, it's definitely, there's quite a lot now that they cover in primary school, which I don't think it's a bad thing. So at least then they're a bit more prepared for going off to secondary. But yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's definitely it's a lot more now. And then also there's the whole bit about actually teaching them what a good relationship looks like in terms of, like, you know, actually respecting each other and caring for each other, like the actual relationship side of things, which is like, it's just a bit sad that kids aren't just getting that from, you know, from the home lives, that they've got to actually have it pointed out to them by teachers of what is healthy in a relationship. But I suppose if it helps them make good choices about who they spend the time with, I guess it's a good thing. But just a bit sad that it's not just, you know, not just coming from parents. Ooh, just dropped one of the pencils. Where's that got to? Oh, here it is. Right, clumsy me. Yeah, oh, he looks a bit weird at the minute. Just his pink bit's done and not his fur, doesn't he? Right, so I've got my 50%, 30%, 20% and 10% French grey. So I'll start with the darkest first on kind of his stripy areas. And a little bit on his ear. I feel like it had a bit of a stripe on that bit leading into this stripe, so I'm just going to be really quite gentle with the pencil compared to how I normally am with my Prismas, because I don't want to get it too dark and then not change it. So I'm just going to map out where I want his stripy bits and his darker parts. So, so the helpful bit is at least there is some kind of shading on the illustration already to kind of give you a bit of an idea on what to do with this fur rather than it just being a big blank expanse. So put a bit in there. And a bit up his ear. It's a bit odd at the minute, it was just one, but I know this is how it kind of looked when I was doing it on the little one at the front, and that turned out quite nice in the end, so I shall stick with it. I'll do a little bit there and a little bit on his paws, because I feel like he'd have some kind of slightly stripy bits on there. Right, I'll go in with my 30% now and just kind of go out from where I've already done and just keep working through these French greys till I get to the lightest one. It's not often that I work quite so gently with my prismacolors. I quite often just kind of push on and smush it together, but I do need to try and kind of work with layers on this, else it's oh, do you know what? I need to add a little bit of dark rounds this bit as well. I forgot that bit. It's going to be lopsided else. That's even his little face out. Yeah, times have definitely changed a bit, haven't they? It's just not a bad thing. Especially with how switched on children are these days, I mean. There we go, so I'll take this out a little bit. Around his paw. A little bit there. There, right, let's go with 20% next. So that's a little bit down here. I've still got the 10% to use afterwards, so I want to make sure I've got a bit of space left to add that lightest one in as well. Just kind of go back in and then go a bit further out because I don't want really harsh stripes, and I might go in and deepen them up a little bit anyway. There. And his ear. Oh, it's making me fancy an ice cream colouring all of these in. I think I've got some in the freezer. I think I've got like Aldi's knockoff version of Magnums, I think. I'm sure when I was rummaging in the freezer the other night I saw some of them, so I might possibly have one of those tonight, I think. So I'm going in with the 10% French grey now. I'm kind of, I see all the parts of Leon that haven't had any colour yet. I'm going to go in and add that, and then I will work back through from the darkest through to the lightest again to deepen everything up and to make sure it's nice and, well, not super smooth, because I don't mind about it having a bit of texture, because then it'll look a bit like his fur, won't it? But I don't want it looking too patchy. I don't want it looking like he's balding. It's got the 50% again, so I'll go back in on the darkest bits. It looks like he's getting bald patches. That'll be a bit like a couple of our cats. We've got our two ginger ones. The one's always had a bit of a habit of kind of plucking himself, and we saw, might have been on Facebook, an advert for, like, you can get it as a gel and a spray for like cats that get itchy skin, because we took him to the vets and the vets checked him and they're like, oh, he's not got mites or anything, like, you know, it might just be a bit of a habit. They weren't really much use, to be honest. So we've tried this kind of spray and this gel with him, and oh my gosh, it's made a huge difference. His fur's actually finally regrown, but now his brother started kind of plucking himself, so I have to start putting a little bit on him every morning now. See if that helps his fur. Wasn't cheap, but he's actually looking nice and handsome again now. He's not got a weird bald patch on his back, I'm guessing because he's quite hairy. I think he's just got a bit itchy and he's not been able to, you know, even though we brush him, the poor things end up quite itchy. That is a bit of an odd thing for you to join in there, Yolanda. We're talking about sex education at schools, because my daughter's had some of the lessons, but not the lesson yet at primary school. Yeah, I don't know. It could be an allergy. I said the vets weren't really. They were just like, yeah, he's not got mites, he's not got fleas, he's not, you know, no, it's, you know. And we're like, oh, right, okay, maybe he's just going to have this bald patch. And yeah, we've tried this. He doesn't like it. He tries to avoid me in the morning. But of course, he comes near because he wants his food. So then I managed to kind of catch him while he's eating his food, and he'll put up with me putting it on, and it seems to have done the trick and regrown. So I'm not putting it on him at the minute to see if he starts doing it again. Right, what was that, the 30%? So I'll go back to the 20% now. Oh, your cat's allergic to fish. Oh, mine would be gutted. They absolutely love, well, to be fair, they just love their food, full stop, but they are quite partial to their more fish, you know, cat food. I don't mind chicken, but they do prefer the fishier ones. Right, that was a 20%. I go back to the 10% again now. I'm going to just actually start to blend this all out now, I think, with the 10%, because that's what I did with him where I coloured him at the start of the book. So I'll just kind of smush everything together now. It's probably not anywhere near the technical term, but it works for me. It's a good bit with the prismacolors, is they're just so soft and blendable, aren't they? Oh, thank you. I'm quite pleased with that, actually. I think it's like one of my favourite pages out of the book. And sometimes I leave my favourite pages till last, but I thought actually I really needed to colour this one. So I thought it was such a summery page. The look on his face as he's having the ice cream just makes me smile. So going for getting this one done. Still need to try and colour the little characters at the in the start of the book, and I do still want to do the title page at some point, but I can get to that when I get a chance. I just don't quite know when that'll be, but you know, need more hours in the day for colouring. Right, let's add a little bit around his little. Just soften that a little bit. Oh, there we go. He looks a bit better now. He looked a bit weird when I just done the pink bits and not coloured anything else yet. Just I don't know what to do for his eyes. So at the start of the book where I've coloured them. Obviously the eyes were really small, so I had just done them black because it wasn't big enough to add anything. But I don't want to do just black. This green could look quite pretty, couldn't it? Let's try and have a look. Cat eye colours. Let's have a look. I suppose quite often they're kind of that yellowish, greenish colour, aren't they? Yeah, I did think that actually, Yolanda, because I've been trying to work off a colour palette and I've not got that much green, so I suppose the green would look quite pretty for the eyes, wouldn't it? Yeah, let's go for the green. So I'm just going to find, I'm sure I did save the green I used last week. Here we are. So I will base it the same as I did the others. And I'll write that down actually so I don't forget. Let me find a pen. Here we go. So I'll write it down for the eyes. What's this? Arteza watercolour pencil, olive green. 5-5, right, I'll write that down. I won't remember next time, so I might add a little bit of the green, and then yeah, I might add a little bit of yellow in as well, I think, Jess, because sometimes cats' eyes are kind of like a greenish. Let me just sharpen this pencil, it's a bit blunt actually. I'm adding a little bit of, maybe a little bit of this pale yellow that I used there, so let me sharpen that. But I'll do the green first, activate it, and then so I'll just put a little bit. Right, where's my water brush got to? Oh, there it is. Oh, I've got a bit of tissue somewhere. Here we go. Alright. Make sure my water brush is clean. So blend that out, and then I might, once it dries a little bit, I need to deepen that up. I think I've blended that out a bit too much. Let me just get a little bit more. Literally got nothing off the pencil there. Right. I don't want it massively dark, but I do want a little bit. There we go. Right. I'll just let that dry a little bit. And yeah, I might add just a titchy little bit of the yellowish colour just around the very edge, I think. And I suppose I'll need black as well for kind of the centre bit. So let me find my black gel pen, although I won't actually colour it just yet because I want that to be the very, very last thing. So I have got these little chocolates. Well, I was going to do them as chocolate sprinkles. So let me see if I've got a brown gel pen. Is that brown? Yeah, that's brown. So I'll do these little sprinkles as little chocolate sprinkles. So I'm not adding any more colours to the page. I know, I figured it'll tie in with it. Oh, I've still got those nuts to colour as well, haven't I? So I can get those done while the eyes dry a bit before I add the... There we go, that's them done. So I need something for colouring them. I'm thinking I have got pretty much every colour that there is of the Lango pens. I've got pretty much all of them. I had quite a few of them anyway for Christmas, and then for my birthday, husband and daughter bought me like the bumper pack that's got, I think it has got all of them in. So I've got these ones, so I thought maybe let's see this lightest one, because I haven't swatched any of these. I just kind of eyeball it as I go and then scribble a bit on a bit of paper. So let's have a look at that. It's very light, isn't it? That might be a bit too light for the nuts. Let's try the next one up. I don't want it being, because this is like the colour of the skin, so I don't want it being like too pink, but that's far too light. You're not going to be able to tell I've coloured it. Ah, this might be better. Right, I just need to be careful not to smudge anything. So oh yeah, that's I think quite nice. It looks a bit like it's kind of toasted nuts, doesn't it? Yeah, that looks pretty. I'm just going to turn the book because else I know what I'm like. I'm going to end up making a right mess of smudging stuff, so I do apologise for turning it, but I don't want to accidentally make a big mess, and I do want to try and get this finished, seeing as I'm so close to having it done. It would be nice to kind of finish it tonight, and then I could start something else next week. So yeah. So that's nearly the nuts all coloured. Is that all of them? Yes, don't think I've missed any. So let's turn it back the right way. So I think the eyes have dried now. So let's go in and add just a tiny little bit of the yellow just on the, I don't think you can maybe tell much, but I just had a bit of interest to the edge of it. There we go. That is quite pretty. So could do with shading that a little bit on the eyes, but I mean that'll have to dry a bit before I do that. So I might just colour the black bit of the eye and then call it a night, and then I'll finish the last little bits off camera. I was worried about going over the lines, especially with black gel pen. You know, when it's it. There we go. It's looking cute. Right, I'll add a bit of a background to this off camera. I need to erase again where I managed to get a big stripe of pencil there. But it's more or less done. Well, like I said, I'll do a bit of something on the background if I can't manage to erase it anymore. And I might go over some of the lines, but probably not too many, and maybe make sure his whiskers are a little bit more obvious as well. But I think that'll do us for about tonight. So he's more or less done, and then you'll be able to catch the fully completed bit in my completed pages video for, it'll be July's one, because I guess it is July tomorrow and I won't get anything more done on it tonight. So I'm thinking next week I've got a lot of plans for July on what to colour. I'm thinking I might do one of my cute and cozy pages next week possibly, and get my alcohol markers out on stream. So I have got these 3 books that I was looking at colouring in this month. So I've got the Fantasyland one where I'd picked out that page. I've got the Little Cat one where by chance I'd kind of not twigged when I picked the page out of the book. I hadn't really realised that I've inadvertently picked the cover page, but this one just made me chuckle with all the different cats getting stuff done. Or I've got the Fuzzy Meowvies 2 one with How to Train Your Dragon. So I'm thinking I might do one of these next week, if anybody's got any preference on which one I do. Or I have got one in Creepy Cutie that I'd also got picked out, which was that one, although I think this might be a bit harder to fit under the camera with it being a taller one. So if anybody's got any preference on which book they fancy seeing me colouring out of, let me know. Because like I say, this is one that I was planning on colouring, because I've got a few others that I'm planning on doing with pencil, but they are all buddy colours, so I don't necessarily want to do those ones on camera. So it might be a nice change to do some alcohol markers on my live streams as well. Oh, okay, right, we've got a vote then. Fantasy one, cool, I'll go for that. The only bit I've coloured in this one so far is literally that page there, so I don't really count this as being one that I've kind of counted as not really been coloured in yet. So I'll do this one next week on the stream then. I really liked the Happy Little Dragon, but then I did like that it's got the leaves kind of poking out over like the box of the edge, and like the fishing rod kind of peeking out over the top, so I thought that was quite cute. So could do normal stone colour, but I might do it kind of magical stone colour, so I'm not too sure yet. So cool, I'll go for working on this one in next week's stream, and potentially might get it finished in a stream, I guess, with it being alcohol markers. It should be a bit quicker. So that sounds like a plan then, Yolanda, going for this one. And yeah, if you wanted to join me with that, that would be lovely. So I better go and get my guinea pigs to bed. So take care, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. Obviously, click like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you haven't already. And I'll hopefully catch some of you next week as well. So thank you, everybody, for joining, and I'll catch you next week.